Hi guys, welcome to Vesna TV. Today I am showing you how I redid my primary bedroom. So let's get started. So here's just a picture of what it used to look like before we moved in. So this is how the people had it previous to us. And what we had done is when we moved in, we actually had the popcorn ceiling removed. We changed the light fixtures and we ripped out the carpet and I painted out the closets to be white. So we put in laminate floors, painted out the walls, and we just did a flat light. And my husband had built this bed, and I built the headboard. And right now, that was my son helping me because he likes to help. And what I'm just doing is showing you the mess of things, how it looks like just before I get going on it. And what I wanted to do was to do a feature wall. So this back wall is going to be a feature wall. I'm going to be painting it black using this paint from Dulux, and it is the Black Magic Ultra Flat paint. And I am painting, like I said, the back wall black, and I'm adding some MDF boards. They're actually just baseboards that we had left over, and I'm creating a design. So I just did this mock-up for my husband so he could kind of get a visual of what I wanted him to cut, and he cut them up for me, and they're just MDF boards that I will paint out black as well to give it a feature wall. So he just did this, he cut them out for me and did basically what I wanted him to do, and I just did random shapes, geometric shapes, however I wanted them, and just to use up the MDF boards that we had left over from a previous project, and so that they would fit in with our headboard and our wall. And as you can see here, they are finished and painted out black, and I had to do several coats because they were white and they needed several coats, and that's all there was to the feature wall. And then the side walls I did in an olive green color. And that's all there was to the feature wall. And then I added just little sconces because I didn't have electrical there on both sides that I wanted. Like I didn't want to add electrical. I just did battery powered sconces that I picked up on Amazon, and they're gold and they're really, really neat. So I really like them. And I'll show you the finished product after. Then I decided that I needed to have my base of my bed match my headboard, which I really should have done years ago. So I just used some antique dark wax from Bear that I had left over and some black wax from Annie Sloan just to match the headboard. And I am just using kind of the wax on, wax off method, which is what I used on the headboard. You can check out my headboard video from many years ago. It's on this DIY channel, and that was an easy video as well that I made. And I mean, easy DIY that I made, not easy video, it's easy DIY that I made. And I'm just matching that to matching the base of the bed to that as well. So again, here's the black wax and the other wax, and again, just to have both of them match the headboard. Once the bed is waxed and the walls are painted, I move on to this cabinet, or sorry, to this dresser. I had painted this for my son's room when he was born. It doesn't fit into his room anymore, so now it is in our bedroom, and he has different furniture. They both actually have different furniture. So what I'm doing is adding cocoa to the top of the dresser, and I'm going to make it look kind of like it's wood on top. I originally thought I would sand it, but this piece is extremely heavy. So to bring it downstairs so I could sand it and stain it properly, my husband and I, both of our backs are really, really bad. So we just don't have the capacity to bring it down the stairs. And so we're not going to be doing that. So for now, we'll just do the painting, and maybe down the road we may bring it down, or I may sand it up here, but I didn't want to have the dust upstairs. So after the cocoa dries, then I apply some of the antique dark wax on top, and then I also add a little bit of the black wax from Annie Sloan, and I just wipe on, wipe off, but I do mostly I do mostly the dark wax, the antiquing wax, just to give it that brown look, and I just add a little bit of the black just to get more of a deeper kind of brown look. And then I apply clear wax as a top coat, like a protective coat. So I'm just going to speed everything up, but when you are applying the wax or the paint or any of the any Sloan chalk paint stuff, you want to make sure that your brush strokes are kind of random, not just one way up and down. So you're kind of doing it all over the place. That'll prevent it from prevent the brush strokes from showing when you are when your piece is finished. So it just makes it look a little bit smoother. when you apply the wax, you want to apply it again in all sorts of random strokes, and then you want to buff it off with a rag. You just want to make sure that the paint and the other wax have had a lot of time to cure, like 24 hours. Then I went ahead and I applied some of this Trem Clad black paint onto the handles, which I took off of the piece. I kept the original handles. I like them. You could modernize this and put modern black handles. It would make the piece look a little bit more modern, but I'm happy with these ones and I'm happy with the way the piece turned out. But again, you can make this piece even more modern by removing some of the intricate pieces to it. So if you wanted to modernize it, because it is a very good solid piece. So like I said, I love buying good quality furniture. So the other part, the front part of the piece, I am going to paint in a black paint from Rust-Oleum. It's the charcoal black from Rust-Oleum. And again, like I said, you could totally sand all of this down and stain it if you wanted to, because it is solid wood. So very easy to do. And by using the chalk paint, it's not a harsh paint, so it is easy to take off and sand down if I wanted to do it in the future. So I'm just going to get coat down in all of the crevices. I just did one lighter coat and then I did kind of like a light coat over top, more like a touch-up coat over top. That's what you want to do with the chalk paint. You don't want to cake on too much. You're better off doing two light coats and kind of a sand in between if you wanted to have a really nice smooth finish. I didn't need to do a sand in between, but if you wanted to have a nice smooth finish, you can do a sand in between. I think I didn't need to do a sand in between because I have a coat of paint underneath, or actually several coats of paint underneath already. So again, when I finished painting this piece, same thing, I applied the clear wax on top. I let it cure for about 24 hours and I applied the clear wax sporadic, like in, not sporadically, applied it evenly everywhere, and I buffed it off with a rag, making sure that I got it in all of the curves, especially on top there as I where the drawers open and close, so that way it protects the piece. And so here is what the finished piece looks like, all decorated, and I think it turned out really, really nicely. I purchased this on Facebook Marketplace for $10. I actually have a set of them. They were $20 for the set, but I'm just doing the one for now. And what I wanted to do originally was I wanted to just paint it and not do anything else with it. Then I found that these imperfections that it had were actually making the paint kind of look gunky. So then I decided I was going to sand it all down and stain the top. However, when I was sanding it down, I could not get all of the little corners and everything without having to take apart, and that's kind of beyond my ability. So then I decided that I was going to go ahead and just paint it with this cocoa chalk paint after I sanded it down somewhat, just so that the imperfections were gone and the paint would have somewhere to stick. Now I don't have a lot. Let me see if you guys can see. I don't have a ton in here, so I'm going to dilute it in a little bit of water to make it go a little bit further. And then I will be using the Rust-Oleum charcoal for the bottom. So what I'm actually doing is I'm painting the top part in the cocoa and just the sides of it as well. And then the bottom part, because it's kind of like a two level side table. So the bottom part I'm painting in this cocoa as well. And kind of I want it to look like the frame is one color and then the tabletops are a different color. And because I told you I wanted to go with that wood look, I decided to do the cocoa, and then I'm going to be adding some waxes on top, which will make it kind of look brown, but not wood grain. But when you see this finished product, it's going to look amazing. You're going to love it. So because I did sand it down, I only needed one coat of the cocoa paint. Now you technically don't have to sand down when you're using the chalk paint. However, I found that it sticks a little bit better if you do sand it down. So when you're applying your wax, you don't take off the paint. So if you have the time, if you have the patience, give it a nice rough sanding so the paint sticks better. You don't have to use a primer. You totally could if you wanted to have that even better durability. But once you apply all of your waxes, it'll be pretty durable. And you can always use a coat of some sort of a varnish on top that will protect the paint. Not varnish, like a protective spray. So the brush that you see me using is actually an Annie Sloan brush. And it's fabulous. It's fantastic. It works amazing. The bristles stay on. I've had this brush for many, many years, and it's kind of pricey, but it's well worth the cost. We only have one store that sells, well, we have a few, but none of them are in our town. So the one store that I prefer going to for Annie Sloan stuff is a little bit further out, and because of all of our restrictions, they've been kind of closed on and off. That is why I've gone with some paints from Rust-Oleum that are like the the chalk paints. But I really do like the Annie Sloan paint. I find that the Rust-Oleum is pretty comparable. I feel like the Annie Sloan goes a little bit further, and the waxes are like completely different in texture, so it's hard to compare them. I really like the black wax and the dark wax from Annie Sloan, but I also really enjoy that Rust-Oleum glaze. It's just they're completely different. The waxes from Annie Sloan are like waxes, so that you kind of like you put them on and you rub them off, and it's a waxy texture. Whereas the Rust-Oleum, it's just a decorative glaze, so it actually tints your paint color like after you've painted it, but it doesn't give that protection like the clear wax does from Annie Sloan, if that makes sense. But it has a different purpose. The antique wax from Annie Sloan doesn't protect either. But anyway, different textures, so it just depends what you like working with better. So now I'm painting the sides of this piece in the charcoal black from Rust-Oleum, and you can see it goes on nicely as well. And the only key to all of this is before you apply any of your waxes or any kind of painter's tape, because you see that I left like a little bit of the cocoa on the bottom, I'm going to have to change that. I'll have to use some painter's tape just to have a nice even line. But anytime you're using it, make sure you give it time to dry. Chalk paint does dry fairly fast. I would say about an hour and it's dry, but if you want it to be fully dry where you don't have to go back and touch things up, because when you're applying the wax, give it a few hours for it to dry completely. I mean, if you have a day or overnight, let it. You don't need to, but give it a few hours so it's nice and dry. Make sure nothing is wet, because when you will go to apply the wax, it'll take off the paint too. And what I like about all of these paints is that you just need soap and water to wash your hands off. And same with the brushes, you just need some warm water to get rid of the paint. So that's awesome. So I did find with the charcoal paint, I did have to go back and kind of touch things up. Now, I don't know if it's just because I kind of wiped it off the piece wasn't as sanded, so when I applied the paint it kind of slid off, or if it's the quality of the paint. I kind of thought about that. I'm not sure. I can't tell you which one it is, just because the side of the piece wasn't as sanded as the top of the piece. But it would have been interesting if I had some of the black from Annie Sloan to just kind of try it on the other table and see how it works. But anyway, so I applied the paint and I did have to go back and touch it up for the black. But again, it was just one coat. It's just that I had to touch it up in a few spots. So I guess it was like 1.5 coats. And then I let it all dry. So I did wind up using just a small brush to fix up and touch up the little spots where I couldn't get with my big brush, and in between the curves and stuff like that. So that's the only kind of downfall of the big brush, is you can't get into the little grooves, but then you just take a small brush and do what you need to do. So I was really happy with how this piece turned out. I thought it was really nice as it is, but I still wanted that extra touch of antique, and I wanted this top to be more brown than kind of the light beige. So I'm starting with the Rust-Oleum decorative glaze in Java. Make sure you wear gloves when you apply this one, because it does stain your hands quite a bit. And I'm applying it just with a rag, and I'm basically applying it and rubbing it off right away and just kind of rubbing it in there. Do it gently so you're not scrubbing so hard that your wax is coming off. So I do wind up glazing the sides as well, where the black part is. I wasn't going to originally, but then I did it by accident and I liked the way it looked. So this is what it came out to once I did all of the sides and everything. Then I went and I fixed up where my wax kind of took off the paint. That's what I was telling you, to let it dry completely. And then I added this Annie Sloan black wax, and I'm using just a wax brush that I picked up at Lowe's or Home Depot or somewhere like that. It was about 5 years ago, so I don't remember. And it was a natural bristle brush. That's what I was looking for. And I'm applying it with the brush and then wiping it off with the wax. And I do it all over the piece again on the tabletops and on the sides. And I don't wind up kind of reapplying the dark glaze onto the parts where I touched it up. I thought it was fine just to add the black wax. And after I finish this, then that's where you do your protective stuff. I will be going to purchase a protective spray, and I can't do that until it's nice out, so I'm not showing you that part. I can add it in the comments once I spray it which one I wind up with. I'm just going to Home Depot and seeing what they have. I was going to use the clear wax, but I wanted to give a spray a try just because I haven't tried it before. And the problem is that it's really cold outside, so I can't open windows or anything like that to air it out. And I want to kind of do this in my garage. I can't do it when it's minus 30 outside, so minus 30 Celsius for those of you in the States. Um, so I can't do it when it's that cold outside. So I'll just wait. These are going to kind of sit for a little while anyway. I haven't decided where they're going, whether I'm going to try and sell them or I'm going to gift them to somebody. I don't know what I'm doing with them. I really love them. I had purchased them originally to put in my family room once we convert my living room, which is right now a playroom, into a living room, and then this will go in the family room. But that's not happening for a few years. So, but I was eager to get them painted. So I might sell them. We'll see. Or gift them to someone. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's all there is to it. It has a few steps. I still have to fix up the sides there where you see the little cocoa that's kind of going into the black, but I will just touch that up with some painter's tape and just a small brush. And that's all there is to this piece. It's not very hard to do. It did not cost a lot. I mean, the paint I had on hand, if you didn't have the paint on hand, it would cost you, a couple bucks for the paint. But you can also buy small sample paints. You don't have to buy the big paint cans. But I love the way this piece looked. And these pieces, I mean, it's a solid wood piece that was made in Canada, which is awesome. And it's very sturdy, very durable, and now it has been given new life, and it looks like a high-end, expensive piece probably that you could get at, any of the stores that sell kind of French provincial stuff for a couple $100. I was looking online, so per table, and I paid $20 for the two of these, which is awesome. Anyway, I hope you like this. Here it is completely finished and styled. I am in love. And like I said, I don't know that I want to sell it, but let me know what you think. I did not paint the little handle on the drawer. I left it as it is. I just cleaned it up and I love it. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you love thrifting as much as I do. All of my furniture in my house, except for my couches and my mattresses, are all thrifted or handmade, including my bed frame. So the plan originally was to sell these, but then as you can see, I wind up using them in my bedroom video. I just wanted to show you this clip of how I refinished these tables because I absolutely love how they turned out. I think I still have them for sale on Marketplace, but I won't sell them because I absolutely love them. They're probably one of my favorite pieces, and I think they just match the bedroom perfectly. So let me know what you think. Here is the completed bedroom with everything set up nicely. I just love how everything came together. The side tables look great. The lamps look awesome. Um, Headboard looks great. I just love it. Let me know what you guys think. My husband thought that the room was going to be too dark, but we have a massive window. The light's not even on, and look how much light we have in here. It is not dark at all. I love the green and the black together. I just absolutely love it. Let me know what you think. Um, Let me know if you think I'm crazy for painting it black or if you think that it just looks amazing. And hopefully you come and check out my video next week and have a great day. Stay safe and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit that like button. Share this video with everybody because sharing is caring. And hit that notification bell so you can see when I post new videos. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day and stay safe.